What's one traumatic event from your childhood you always replay in your head? It doesn't have to be the most traumatic, just a traumatic. To address some stuff that was said or whatever last episode.
Jessica, we can't talk about it.
We have to talk about it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Talk about it.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
I was wrong. Well, it is in fact cortisol.
Bitch.
It is in fact cortisol.
All right.
Not cortisone. And you were right. You were right. I watched it back because I was like, oh, we were wrong. And then you were like, no, I was right. And I was like, did you say that? And you definitely did. Yeah. You definitely said cortisol. And then, but yeah, so that's it. That's all I want to talk about.
All right, fair. That's it. Bye, guys.
Yeah, that's it. No, but we want to do you want to talk about it? You want to bring it up?
We want to do the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do the Q&A. Essentially, like, we had posted or you had posted, because you're just better at social media than I am, the whole questions, asking us questions. But I would just like to address my face might look very oily. It's because it's soaked in, like, all this cream because I'm having a really bad flare. So no one judge me.
Oh, you look so pretty.
And I'm not embarrassed. I'm not uncomfortable. Or I'm not hot. I'm not sweating. This is just my face, and I'm vulnerable. And I was like, Zachary, I can't record. And he's like, yes, you can. Maybe you're fine. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, I literally, I don't think I can. He's like, you have to be okay with, like, this. Mm-hmm. I have to be okay.
Isn't that, like, kind of part of it?
I have to be okay with it. I have to just, like, you know what? This is my life. I'm going to have bad days. And, like, there are days where I can't put makeup on because up there was burning. Just, I took my makeup. I tried 3 different, like, foundations, BB creams, CC creams. Nothing was working. It was all burning. And I'm like, I can't wear anything because I'm just going to be in pain. So here I am, vulnerable self.
Well, I'm proud of you, and I hate you because some people have to take a little pill every single day to have nice skin, and you just have it naturally. So if this is like, her skin on a bad day is my skin on a good day. So
yeah, I know, and I'm very grateful for that. But I just, like, this is something I'm
never dealt with. Yeah,
very new to this, and it's like I don't know how to navigate this journey.
Yeah,
and I'm like, bro,
it's just another thing that you have to deal with.
And I'm like, why? Selena Gomez, this girl, I love her, right? I've always been a Selena Gomez fan, but she has lupus. Why hasn't Homegirl come out with a skincare line for people with lupus?
I don't like Selena Gomez, but we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, fine.
I will.
Why don't you
get canceled? I just
don't. Okay.
Victim mentality, blah, blah, blah.
All right. Yeah, fine.
But, okay.
Questions. Go ahead.
So we got quite a few.
You have your phone, and
I do have my phone only because I have the questions on here. I'm not, like, being rude or anything, guys. So if you see me looking down at my phone, that's why. So, okay, do we want to start with, like, the juicy questions?
Yeah, and like, we're going right into it.
Okay, so the first one, I guess, the literal first question we got was, how do you keep a relationship spicy?
That's such a hard one.
Would you, like, define my relationship as spicy? Because, like, how do you?
I don't know. Like, my thing is like, I always. Okay, well, like, grandmas are watching this. My mother-in-law watches this.
My grandma said she's fine.
So. Okay, so sorry, Kiki. But anyways.
Not sorry.
So, like, you know, just skip over this part. Well, like, my thing is like, I always try to explain to Zach, like, married couples, a lot of time, like, they just don't have sex that often. And it's not because, like, they're not attracted to each other. It's because, like, at the end of the day, after I've done everything for the kids, like, I'm touched out, talked out, don't touch me. I get in bed, and then he's, like, I'm like, get away from me. I don't want to be touched. And he's like, oh, okay. Or, like, when I'm feeling good, like, earlier in the day, like, so can we cuddle tonight? I'm like, yeah. And then it'll be time for nighttime, and I'm like, fake sleeping. But it's hard. You have to, and I think you just have to kind of, not force yourself, because that sounds so wrong, but you kind of have to make sure you sleep with your partner, because that, like, if you don't, it's so much tension. And it's like, what we did, we took pictures. That was like something fun and nice for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they weren't super early and crazy or anything.
No, they weren't.
I don't want
crazy.
People thinking. Yeah,
we didn't take
nudes. I posted mine yesterday, and I was freaking out. I posted one, and I was freaking out about it because I'm like, but it wasn't explicit. Even without the censored thing, it was
literally nothing.
Like, I've seen girls, like you said, like, I've seen girls in their bikinis on Instagram that showed more, but
way worse.
And to, like, add to that, I think there's more to keeping your relationship spicy than, like, physical intimacy. I think it goes so much deeper than that. I think, like, talking to your partner, I know this is going to sound so cliche, but it's true. Like, I know when me and Brad are, like, not talking or, like, communicating as well, or we're, like, passing ships, you know what I mean? I don't think our relationship feels as good. I don't feel as like safe or comfortable or whatever. So I think there's like, I don't know, something that we've been doing recently is switching off date nights. So like we've done 2, and then this weekend, this Friday, she's going for her birthday on Friday. Happy birthday. And I think that's super important. I think just like making time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is making time, whether, and like, so like physical is a big part of it. Like, well,
yeah, it is.
So my husband is physical touch ups, his love
That's
language.
mine too, yeah.
And it's like mine is
anything,
not.
even like holding hands.
Yeah, like I know it's exactly like wants to hug me. And I'm like, why are you touching me right now? Like I'm doing the dishwasher. But it's like, my thing is like my love language is like not acts of service, because I don't want you to be my slave, but it's more of like, go take the garbage out without having me to tell you to take the garbage out.
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that, and like words of affirmation, but more acts of service, because it's like words mean shit to me. I need you to like show that you're like putting in the effort, essentially. So like communication, all of these things, even if you guys are just like, take that time after the kids are in bed. I know it's hard.
Gosh, watch a movie.
Have a
date night at home.
Literally, just watch a show, or like just sit there and talk. That is keeping the relationship going.
Because I know for us, for so long, like we couldn't go out because we've had, we had a baby, and then 4 years later we had another baby, and then 4 years later we had another baby. So it's like by the time one became independent, we just had another one. So we always have done that. That's something that we've always done, is like, they go to bed. I know sometimes you just want to go to sleep, but sometimes it's like, let's just hang out. We play games a lot. I know a lot of people think that's nerdy, but we have fun. I mean, I think it's a good question, but I think it's answered so much. And I just think everybody's different. Like your relationship is going to look different from, my relationship's going to look different from yours, and
absolutely
blah, blah, blah. So it's just whatever you guys like doing, do it together, make time for each other.
Yeah, that's just the biggest thing. I think just make time for each other, because if you make time for each other, you'll be like attracted to each other. You know what I mean? Because like once you like just like talk,
or not, I don't know. But if that's the case, then just get out of there. But
jump ship because it's over.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next question?
Let's see. There's a lot. So the next one was, if you could erase one person from your past, who would it be and why? You want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go first. I can't say said name, but it would be my aunt. I have multiple aunts, so good luck figuring out who it is. No, but mine is definitely her, because she has just done so much damage, like emotionally, physically, not only to just me, right? Let's just take me out of the picture. She's done so much damage to our family and caused like such a huge divide. Like she's hurt my grandmother, hurt my brother, hurt Paige, hurt me, hurt my cousin Marissa, hurts my like she does so much damage, and it's like to the point where it's like, I don't know, I just can't. She's just someone that I just don't want in my life at all. And like if she was just non-existent, like it would not matter to me. Like she's just not a good person. Like, I have another family member who's batshit crazy, but I would take her all day, every day over this person.
But do you think, like, because for me, my answer is completely different, but do you think that she's, like, taught you things that were important to learn in life? Or do you think?
I don't know. That's a hard question to answer, because I guess she kind of taught me of, like, who I don't want to be. She taught me the kind of mother like I didn't want to be, just because of like how she has treated, and done like
so
her.
Many things.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like,
so she's setting an example for you, but not in a good way. Like, do the opposite of what she does.
Yeah.
So
I mean, one thing I will say about her, she did teach me to work hard, because she was a hard worker, is a hard worker, whatever. She did tell me, like, you have to count on yourself to like make it in life. You have to like work hard for what you want. So I guess like that's a positive thing she taught me. But I don't know. It's just,
would you, if you could erase her?
Yeah,
you would.
Yeah. Like just completely erase her out of my life. Like absolutely not have to hear anything about her. Yeah, it'd just be good.
I would say mine are. It's like such a cliche answer, but I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't think there's anybody. Like, one person comes to mind.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Probably, I think.
But like a friend. But I don't think I would erase anybody, only because like I feel like every person has like, sounds bad, but like served a purpose.
No, you're not wrong.
Purpose
Yeah,
at
you're
one
not
point
wrong.
or another. But if there is one person that when I was in I'm not going to say names because it's just like fucked up, but it was a friend, and I would say it was 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
And one person, I'm just going to talk about the one person. I hate being vague. I feel like that's so annoying. Like when I watch podcasts and people are like so vague, but I'm just going to be.
But we have to be careful.
I have to
we
be
have
careful.
to be careful.
Got in some trouble. So, yeah, there's one person. If I had to erase somebody, I would. But this person contributed to a time in my life where it was like the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. The worst. Like, and it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was recent, but it was more recent. And this person just like contributed to it, saw me doing harmful things to myself, to other people, and continued to enable it. Mm-hmm. And overall just completely like changed the way I view. I'm not even kidding. Like this person has like, at one point I would have said this person ruined my life for sure. But I still don't think I would erase this person. No. I can't say because, but I don't think I would, because I think I look back at that and I'm like, wow, there was so many lessons, like so many different things that I'm like, at the time, like going through it, I'm like, or look, even like 6 months later looking back, I'm like, oh my God, like I wish I could just like forget this ever happened or whatever. But I don't know. I think, again, everybody serves a purpose. This person did serve a purpose. This person was good to me at one point and was a good friend to me and was like helpful and did things. But then like, I think it's so weird seeing like being friends with somebody for so long and then seeing them completely change, and just like, you just start to see things, and I don't know.
For who they are.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was like. You thought this person was someone that they aren't, because then
but then you still wanted them to be the person that you thought they were, and they're not. And I don't know, this person has continued to just kind of like mess with my life here and there. And I don't really let it affect me anymore, but I wouldn't erase them. I wouldn't.
I think because you think of things like a little bit differently, and I think you're like a good person at the end.
Well, and there was so much good that did get me through other hard times, and I'm appreciative of that, and I'm never going to forget that, and I still love that person for the good things, but the bad things created a lot of like turmoil and like things I will never forget, things that are going to forever affect me. Yeah. And it sucks, but I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. And that's in like my adult life, and there's like a few people in my adult life that I'm like, oh my God. Like I used to have another friend a long time ago who is psycho, like literally psycho. Yeah. And I'm like, I would probably erase you. But again, this person was a good friend at one point. Did like take care of me, love me, support me through other hard times. But then it's just so crazy how people can change. And I'm sure I've been that person to other people too. Like, I know for a fact I have been. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think everybody's like meant to be forever,
I don't think I think there's a season for certain people, you know what I mean? Like I think everyone has their own season in someone's life, and like mine is obviously a little bit different because it's like family, and it's just done so awful. It was just so bad for so long. So it's like it was my childhood, then it was my young adult life, then my adult life. So I'm just like, no, I'm good. But I think everyone comes in your life for a reason, and I think
it is a weird question to like think about though. Like when I asked you if you could, would you? And it's like, would I? No.
Yeah, I would
to choose. I don't think I would. I don't know. It's really hard, but next. That's a hard question.
I'm like, didn't your friend ask these questions?
Yeah, some of them. And then what's the other one?
She's asking the hard shit. That's why.
We got one in like DMs too, so I want to make sure.
Did you screenshot them?
No. I'm scrolling because there's a lot. But okay, so how is the transition? Let's just like lighten it up, and then we'll go back to some difficult ones. How is the transition to a new country for the kids being in a foreign country school system? So I'll start. Yeah. I grew up in, so we posted bios. So you got to know a little bit more about us, like the little things. But I grew up as a military brat, so I grew up, most of my childhood was spent in Japan and military. So my oldest daughter was 2.5 when we moved to Italy, because we lived in Italy prior to moving to Germany. So, and another thing, schools, like the schools we send our kids to are
They're American
schools. They're American schools. They're they're military affiliated schools. So they go to school on base. So there is like the option to send your kids off base. Obviously, we haven't taken that.
No, I wouldn't do it. I don't think.
No, because we plan on going back to the States. I mean, I think it's a cool experience, and I know a lot of friends who in Italy like sent their kids to like asilo, which is basically like preschool. Mm-hmm. So Italian preschool or whatever, and you could probably do that here too. Well, I don't think you can. I think there's like some rules about it, but no, the transition for me at least, and my experience, I loved living overseas. I grew up overseas. Every time that we've ever gotten orders, like anytime I've gotten orders back to Japan or anytime we've gotten orders to Italy or Germany or wherever, I've always loved it. It was not a hard transition for me. That's the only life I knew. Same thing with my daughters. That's the only thing they've ever known, and they've never had a hard time transitioning ever. And I know that's like complete opposite of what a lot of people will say. I know a lot of people have like the complete opposite experience. And I would say kids are a lot more resilient than the adults. I think the adults struggle more.
I think so. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I think they struggle a lot more. But the kids, especially because it is an American school, it's just like switching schools to them.
Mm-hmm. I will say, so like, obviously, like I had Brooke, and when she was about like 2 or 3, that's when Zach joined the Air Force. So it's like, that's all she's ever known. That's all Natalie's ever known. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? So you're right. It's like, they're so much stronger than I am, right? Like it's so hard for me.
I don't think it's that you're not strong.
No, I know, but like when it comes to like change,
it's hard.
I hate change. But like,
what about asking us about our transition?
I know, what about us? No, I'm just kidding. But like, no, for real, like they take it with grace. Like I will say though, when we transitioned to Germany last year, right? Yeah. It was a little bit harder. The only reason why it was harder was because Zach was in Turkey unaccompanied and we were back home with our family. So they were with Kiki and Pops and Bava and Uncle Zach and Auntie Paige and everyone for a whole year. So they were with their family and they were in Rhode Island, and that's where like home is to them. That's where their family is. Like they could see Grammy whenever they wanted and Nana and whatever. But like now, they had to leave. Like they got super comfortable. Like they got used to like Kiki showing up being for karate and gymnastics and tumbling.
Having a village.
Yeah, they had everyone there watching them play their sports and coming to their school graduations and all these things. And then they go from that to you're now across the ocean and you don't have anyone. So that it was a little bit hard for them, but now they are flourishing. They are like literally loving it. Yep. And like they talked about like, so like in a couple of years we're gonna leave. I don't think
that's going to be a whole different.
But it's going to be really bad. But they're like, can we get Florida? I really want to go to Florida, but only if Tegan and Emmy come.
I know, dude. That's the hardest part. That is the hardest part. Like Tegan, even in kindergarten, she did kindergarten in Italy. My oldest did kindergarten in Italy, and then we moved here. Even that was a little bit hard for her because she's like, she got used to. That's what she knew.
Yeah.
But she has like a bunch of her friends from Italy actually.
Yeah, a lot of you guys came over here.
Yeah. So she knows quite a few people at school, but that was still hard for her.
But I feel like now, though, they're really starting to develop friendships.
And I'm not worried about the little ones.
No, I'm talking about like Tegan and Brooke.
That's what I'm saying. But the older ones, when we leave, are going to be so old. Not so old, but they're going to be in that like very sensitive age. Yeah. They're going to be like, we leave in 2028, right?
I live in 2026.
2026?
Yeah, we're only here for 3 years.
Only 3?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. We're going to be here till 2028. May of 2028. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, still, they're going to be older. Even now would be hard for them. They would struggle. So they're just at that age where it's like they're very attached to their friends. They have their groups. They're starting to kind of form like cliques, and their personalities are really developing.
I agree.
Or
it's going to be hard this time, though.
So it's going to be a lot harder. But yeah, with that being said, no, our kids don't go to German schools. They go to schools. They do have
host nation, where it's like they'll teach them the language that the culture just that they live
enough
in
to get by.
Yeah,
exactly. Nothing crazy, but
like Dankeschön, whatever. That's what Natalie always corrects me when I say it wrong. I'm like, whatever, Natalie.
Okay, so that was the question. Okay, so what was the hardest part about moving to Germany? Ooh, okay, you can go first because I know this is gonna be crazy. I just want to know. I'm
honestly
curious.
The hardest part about moving to Germany was like, okay, there's a lot because let's just call
so many things.
Let's just say it for what it is. I don't love it here. But when I first got here, I fucking hated this place.
Even when we first started the podcast, you hated it.
I hated it. I was like, the people are grumpy. mean. They don't give two shits about us. The weather sucks. It rains. The community here, there's not really much support. There still isn't. And I'm the first one to say, like, there's no support here. It's like, we're throwing you in a new country. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck with Wi-Fi. Good luck with your internet service. Oh, you need a German bank account just to rent. Oh, but you need it. It was just a shit show, right? I think this like falls on the military, is if they gave people who are PCSing overseas more support, we wouldn't feel like we're just thrown to the fucking wolves, and we wouldn't feel so overwhelmed, anxiety, sad, mad, all at like right at the beginning. Because like when you're thrown in a situation, that like beginning part of it is like a huge reflection of how like the
Can I
rest
just
is gonna
like
go.
one particular thing? This isn't what I was gonna say, but one particular thing about that you're saying is the financial burden.
It's bad.
Of moving to Germany specifically. I mean, it's bad. It was bad when we went to Italy too, but it took the finance office here is a lot. Like, I'm not shitting on them at all because there's so
I am. You suck.
Well, there's so many people, and so like the manpower here is just not. It's everywhere.
That's the problem.
So like a lot of them are doing their best, and like I'm appreciative, but it just takes so. I think it took my husband 6 months. No, I think it was like 5 to get his paycheck switched from our previous base to this base.
My thing is here with that is that manpower for finance goes to medical, goes to everything. You guys don't have the manpower to support the people you're sending here. Stop fucking sending people here. It's fucking black and white, simple as that. Stop sending people here if you don't have the support to care for them. Because my thing about that is like, let's talk about our household goods. And you're not going to have a microwave, a vacuum, a 220 voltage vacuum, all these little things, it all adds up, right? So like, I'm not kidding you. The amount of money we had to spend on just getting by was ridiculous. And let's talk about
your car not being here.
Your car not being here in a rental car. Well, you know how much money? You know how much money we spent on a rental car?
Yeah, it's insane.
Close to $1,000. And that's not even crazy because Zach bought a car when we first got here.
Yeah.
If we waited on my car to be here, that wasn't until Halloween.
That's like what most people, we need to do like a whole episode on like tips. Like
a PCS.
Yeah, like
tips
or specifically to Ramstein.
I have a whole binder.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. I think it would be really helpful. And then it's something like, because like when you look up, like there's not a lot of resources. Like there are some really awesome creators here at Ramstein that I use, but like finding it is kind of difficult. And even when you do, like some of them aren't great, and some of them just focus on like housing, some
right, or whatever. It's outdated, or it's like not for that.
Do like a 10-part series. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's boring. But we need to do like one whole thing just for people. Like we're not professionals, but like I've done so many overseas moves.
I will say this made me kind of feel like a professional because I did so much research. Just, I'm not kidding. I have binders.
Yeah.
I will bring them.
To.
We'll show the receipts. I'm going to bring them to the podcast, and I'm going to like, PCS binder to Germany, part 1. PCS binder to Germany, part 2. It's ridiculous.
It's insane. Yeah. You have so much paperwork, and everything is still like, the systems are, well, at least when we got here, the systems were still kind of like manually done in a lot of ways. So you have so like bad. Oh, do you have this hard copy paper?
Oh, everything's like that. Yeah,
this DD form 55599, and you're like,
be fucking.
Let me look through the thousands of papers I have. But it's so funny because mine is like the complete is okay. So moving to Italy was the hardest overseas PCS we ever had to do. There's a whole other process that you have to go through. It's basically the same thing as here, but there's a whole other visa, right? You need a visa. So when you get there, you have to get this thing called the Soggiorno. So you get a visa prior in the States, and then when you get there, you have to go through this whole process of getting a Soggiorno. Okay, so moving here was a little bit easier for me because I already had a driver's license. I already had you have to get like a special driver's license when you live over here. I already had that, so they literally just transferred it over. I didn't have to do the test. I didn't have to do the drive, whatever you guys had to do. I don't know what you had to do, but I didn't have to do it. So
just take a test.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to take a test. It just transferred over from Italy. So that was way harder. It's a completely different thing. Aviano stuck in like 2001. And it's just different. But for me here and talking to, I know a lot of girls here that came from Aviano. They're like, making friends here is so much more difficult. So back at Aviano, it was so small, it was tight knit. Like I was friends with, like my husband's squadron was very small. He was a porter. didn't really have passengers there. So like Ramstein, it's huge. Like there's passengers every single day, multiple times a day.
Many people.
There was maybe every once in a while there would be some, but it was mostly just like other types of flights. So everyone was so close there. Like everyone, I was best friends with the active duty girls, best friends with all the spouses. We all hung out. Everyone got along for the most part. Like there was drama here and there, but here, I had literally, Britt's my first friend, and I've lived here for almost 4 years. And me and you becoming, well, I have other friends, I have other girlfriends,
but not like close,
but not people I started hanging out with, until more recent. But
I have you and Jenna, and the only reason why I have Jenna is because I knew her at Whiteman. I knew her at Whiteman. But it's so true. That's my second thing. It's one thing, it's fucking hard to be here, but my second thing is like making friends. I don't know why it's so difficult.
Why are people so mean here?
I mean, I'm mean.
Everyone's miserable though. You're not mean. You're not mean to me.
No, but like
you're mean. Like
I suck at making friends.
Mean.
I suck at making friends, right? But like
the way you went about being my friend, like tell the story really quick.
What? I don't know
what happened. You don't remember
Halloween?
No. So her daughter had a birthday. Long story short, her daughter had a birthday. Yeah. She picked up my daughter to take my daughter to I think it was to like see a movie or something. Yeah. And then we met, and she saw me, and then she texted me like 2 days later.
I felt like I could vibe with you.
She texted me. I said barely, like we said barely 2 words to each other, but I was like, oh hey, and she was stressing because she was trying to like get used to driving here. You're a pro now. You drive everywhere now.
Yeah, but I mean, not very well.
Yeah. Well, you did great. Every time I drive with you, I'm like, you're a good driver. I guess I'm just
a bad driver.
I guess because I'm like, dang, she's really good. I always say that to Brad. I'm like, she's a really good driver.
Oh no.
But you also were a cop. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's just like literally not forget that how many times I broke my patrol car, and any of my old people watching this.
I could just tell the way you drive is like, I wouldn't even say it's not defensive or offensive. It's kind of both, like in the middle. And I feel like I'm a very like defensive driver because I don't like driving, but I just never had.
But yeah, I met you through Brooke.
Yep. Met me through Brooke, messaged me 2 days later and was like, hey, did you say like this might be weird, but
yeah, I think I did.
You're like, this might be weird, but I think we'd be friends, and like, do you want to go trick-or-treating together? Yeah. And then we did, and we had so much fun.
We did, and we really like fun. Instantly clicked, and
like that, literally within like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we had so much in common. So I'm thankful like that I met you and have you, because if not, like I obviously have Jenna too.
Yeah,
and like we love Jenna, but like it's so nice to have like a few girlfriends that you can count on, and it's
our girls' nights are more fun. The more the merrier. I wouldn't say that. That's not true. But
what?
I wouldn't say the more the merrier. I
don't need to.
Okay, so the type of person that I am, I like to keep my circle very small.
No, I'm content with you and Jenna.
Yeah, I'm like maybe we could add like 1, 2, 3. But I think like maybe having different groups. But I think having like 20 girls in like one room.
No.
I just can't get to know you. As good as I could get to know you. Like,
and I don't honestly want to. I mean, if I'm being honest, like I don't have it in me.
I think there are situations.
Yeah, I like
when we went to bingo, like there were people and we were kind of chatting a little, but nothing like you were being nice.
No, I was worried about your eye.
Oh my god, that was so bad.
Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay, what was the question? Oh, what was the hardest part? Oh, okay, so for me, the hardest part about moving to Germany was definitely not being able to make friends. Yeah. So, and I'm not the kind. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not the kind of girl that posts on social media and is like, because everyone's like, oh, make a post and be like, I'm looking for friends.
No. Don't ever do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's cringy. I'm sorry if someone's watching that has done that. But for me, my personality, cringy.
Well, also, and you're setting yourself up for failure because a lot of those people are going to be like, let's get together. And then they never do. I've never done it. So I can't say. And I do actually, one of my best friends, she did that. And that's how she met her best friends that she's had for years and years and years.
And that works for people. It's just not my cup of tea.
I have to meet you like how we met. And it took 3 years. So that's not to say also we're kind of weird. We're not super
I don't want to go sit at Starbucks and eat with our kids. Like that's not fun for me.
We're not really like that. But okay, so another thing. Okay, do we want like a really difficult question to ask or do we want like a
no difficult?
Okay, so what's one traumatic event from your childhood you always replay in your head? It doesn't have to be the most traumatic, just a traumatic. That's a hard question.
That is a very hard question. I guess like it just goes to something that like would play in my head, I guess would just be like related to my triggers. Like if I'm triggered by something. So I guess everything's different, but one that like, fuck, dude, this is hard.
You answer first?
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm like, I can't talk right now.
It's so funny because I already know there's people that are like, I know what it is. one that's for me was like seeing my family members like super, super drunk and it just getting out of control and just, it wasn't even that they were doing anything like crazy. It was just so little. And it felt like I remember feeling like, oh my God, I have to protect my sister. Oh my God, what am I going to do if this and this and this happens? And I remember our like dishwasher started leaking really bad. It was like flooding all over the floor. And it was just, it scarred me for life. And then like, I'll tell the story, like the full story to people and they'll be like, oh, that's not too bad. You know what I mean? And like, but it was bad for me. I was little.
How old were you?
I think I was like 9 or 10.
Exactly.
And I had a little sister and it was just very scary. It was a very scary situation. And just seeing people that you love be that. And like this person was going through it was really rough for them. And I've like looking back, I'm like, oh, I can totally understand like why this happened. But as a kid, like you don't understand that kind of stuff. You don't. And it was really, honestly, that's why I don't really like drinking around my kids. I like drinking, but I don't like drinking around my kids a lot. And if I do, it's like, I'll have a glass of wine at dinner, or I'll have a couple glasses of wine at dinner, I'll have like a spritz or whatever, but I don't want to get hammered in front of my kids. And so if I do, which I don't anymore, but even when I was younger, like I don't. And I could drink. I can't drink very well anymore.
No, me either. But I
like even this is like
a lot.
I start to like.
Can you tell I'm getting super fucking anxious right now?
Yeah, because do you know what it is?
I know what it is because I'm like,
how bad is it?
It's something that
on a scale from 1 to 10.
I mean, it's fucking bad.
Oh God.
I think like
it doesn't have to be the worst one.
No, but that is something that is just like
something that that you think about.
When I started writing my book, so I started writing my book. I want to write a book, but I am just so busy with photography, school, and this, and being a mom, and being a wife, and being myself. I just don't have time. But I do want to eventually write a book. But this was like a main part of my book, and because this goes to like abandonment, alcohol, drug abuse, and like being just terrified and like being the protector of my brother. And that's why I'm like so fucking overprotective of my children. It's why I was a cop. I wanted to be a cop because I wanted to protect the babies. I wanted to protect all the kids. I wanted to be their voice when they didn't have one, because like the people who bring you into this world are supposed to love and protect you, and mine didn't. So that's why I wanted to be a cop. But I'm like super anxious talking about this, but this was the most traumatic event in my entire life. And it's something that I always think about. Like I'm
adjusting because I really want to like.
All of a sudden, I'm like 7 years old in a bathtub, in a blue tiled bathroom. And I'm there, and I'm in the bathtub, and I don't know whose house this is, but I can tell you it was right next to a Kmart, and it had it was right, the house.
Put like a trigger warning on this part of the video?
Trigger warning?
Like not an actual trigger warning, but just like if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Some people can't handle it.
Like, that's fine.
My mother-in-law can't handle hearing stuff like this.
Okay, so trigger warning.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. I'm sorry. If you want to skip over it, skip over it. But I'm 7 years old. I'm in a blue tiled bathroom. This house has, you know, like, it's a multifamily home, but it has enclosed sun porches, you know, like the porches, but that are attached to the house.
Little sunroom.
Yeah, but it's like attached, and it has all the windows. And it was the second floor, and the Kmart was right there, and the highway was right there. I think it was Cranston or Providence, couldn't tell you. But I remember being in that bathtub, and it was blue tiled, and my brother still had a binky, and we were laying in the tub, and I was holding him in the tub. We weren't like taking a bath. We had like a blanket, like just his blanket, like his little baby blanket. And we were sitting in the tub, and the two people, whatever, they were out there partying. There was a rave going on, I guess. Now I'm like, what was this? Just a party? No, this was a fucking rave. These people were getting messed up in this house party. And then both of them that brought up me and my brother into this world, both of them were there, like with separate people. Were they together at the time? Or? No, they separated like maybe a week before that.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, but they were with other people. And this was the person who like, whatever, really fucked me up. This part of my life really fucked me up. But nonetheless, I'm always in that bathtub, that blue fucking bathtub with my brother, taking care of him, calming him down. He's crying. I'm crying. Like, I'm scared. People keep coming to like, so the door was locked from the inside. People keep trying to go to the bathroom. And they keep like turning the knob, and I'm like, who's going to come in here? And then, I was afraid it was going to be like another person, which is I don't want to talk about this. This is not something I'm going to talk about, but I was sexually assaulted when I was a little girl, and I was always scared, like, because he was at that party. So I was like, is he going to come in here? Is he going to come in here? I don't know what to do. What am I going to hide my brother if he tries to do something again? You know what I mean? Like, my brother's a baby at this point. Like, so that's like something that's like super traumatizing to me. And then there goes so much more to like, it was such a short period. I honestly think that my most traumatic time in my life was probably like 2, 3 days. She just picked us up out of bed and brought us to her boyfriend's house, and nobody knew where we were, and then dropped us back off at my aunt's house with like garbage bags. And it was just like a very like, I remember us driving in a little sports car, and like I heard her saying, "Oh, my mom's following us. My mom's following us," because they were trying to find me and my brother. And then like another like side note is like when she was trying to like run from child services, she took us out of school. This was like years later, right? So I'm in 5th grade now, but this just shows her pattern. Child services were going to take me and my brother away, and she took us out of school in the middle of the day, packed us in the white minivan with our puppies. Our Yorkie and our poodle had puppies, so Jolie and all her puppies were in the van, and we took off and went to Virginia to my dad's house. But
I love that guy.
But my brother and I were talking about it over the summer, and like when I was home, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, that was such a fun road trip." And I'm like, "Bro, because he was young, you remember it as such a fun road trip to Virginia to see Pepe with all the puppies and mom and dad. That's not what it was. It was we were evading Child Protective Services because we were getting abused. I was getting abused, and we were on the run. So it wasn't a fun little road trip, but that's the different mentality, I guess, of like siblings, and it's scary."
Yeah, to add to that, yeah, I got like, even like listening to that makes me, I got teary-eyed, because that's just, I just think about like myself as a mom, and like I think I put my own kids in that situation, and it just like scares the shit out of me.
That's why I don't ever act a fool in front of my kids. I could never. I need to be in
because
control.
It's like the way you look at your own stuff that's happened. Because like even so, like when I was like really, really little, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for talking about this, but when I was really little, we had my parents both worked like full-time active duty Air Force. We had an extremely, when I say extremely, it was really, really bad, from like the weird random memories I do have, really bad babysitter. And it's something I've always talked about like my whole life. Like my closest friends, like I would always be like, "Oh, this happened to me," and they'd be like, "What?" Like when I said that last time, when I was like, "Oh, when you start to tell people things that have happened and they're like, that's not normal, like you need to talk to somebody about that."
Yeah.
This was one of those things. And I just remember like, yeah, my sister and me were really badly being abused by this babysitter, and my parents had no idea, because the way that she would do things.
It was a girl.
It was a woman. And it wasn't just me and my sister, it was all of the kids at the daycare.
Okay.
And I just remember like my mom, when we moved to Japan, I remember, this is a memory I have, is being in the kitchen in our off-base house in Japan and getting a postcard from her or her son or something. And then me and my sister being like, "No, like they were like, she was really bad to us, really, really, really bad to us." So I don't remember what we said. We were really little, but I remember my parents just being like, "You never have to go there again. You never have to go there again." And that was it. And like anytime I try to talk to my mom or my dad, I've never really tried to talk to about it, but anytime I've tried to talk to my mom about it, I just think my mom has so much guilt, or like my mom, she doesn't really know exactly what happened. And so I think she's just like, "Oh my God, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this."
Because essentially it's like she
doesn't want to know.
She's supposed to protect you. Yeah. And it's not her fault.
No,
this is not her fault.
She didn't
know.
But
like you were getting watched by somebody that she thought she could trust, and look what this person did. So it's like that mom guilt of like, I don't want to talk about it.
And it's funny because like it's the same thing with my sister. Like my sister does remember things, and she remembers, I think she remembers mostly like the feeling of being scared or like not comfortable. But I remember specific things, and I was actually in like a private school at the time, like a private Christian school at the time. So I remember like my thing was like every single day I remember leaving and just being like, "Oh, I hope my sister's okay. Like I hope she's going to be okay without me."
That's sad.
And yeah,
it's and
awful.
We're our like siblings keeper. I always say that. Like
I think that's just the role you take on as like an older sibling. I see it with like my oldest daughter. I did it. I know my mom was the oldest. She did it. My dad was one of the oldest, and he did it. You know what I mean? It's just, you just kind of like protect your siblings.
But I think it like just makes it worse when you go through traumatic things and you're the oldest sibling, because it's like, who takes care of you?
Yeah, and then also sometimes you feel crazy because I'll talk to my sister about like things that have happened or whatever.
They don't see it,
and they're like, well, that
no
she
idea.
does, like she doesn't remember what I remember.
Right.
And like we've never really like sat and been like, hey, do you remember this and this happening? But we both have said like, oh, fucked up shit happened to us, and it wasn't all physical. It was, some of it was like emotional, mental trauma, like just weird fucked up things that this person would do to us.
Yeah.
And super weird, because I'm like, what? Like you just don't, like the whole P. Diddy thing coming out and people are like, oh my God, that's so weird, all this shit that he's doing or saying, or like, you know, and it's like, no, people actually are that crazy and they like don't even. But yeah, talking to her about it is kind of hard because she doesn't remember a lot, and she's just kind of like, I don't even know if I should even be talking about it, because it's not just me.
Like,
but
no, it is not just you, but also it's like there's like two, like I said, like my brother thought about this as a fun road trip. It was, no, we were running from DCYF because they were trying to take us because we were getting abused. It's just two totally different perspectives because of the age gap. The older sibling takes on so much. So that's the most traumatic thing in my life, and it goes so much deeper.
Or one that you replay, because there's probably
there's so many, but that is one that like really sticks to me like all the time. Which I finally, that was. And then I want to jump to the next question, but that I finally, you know, told my Vava last year that I was sexually abused when I was 7. I never told anyone until last year when I was home in Rhode Island. Nobody knew.
What is it about that kind of stuff that you're just like? Because to me, it's not shame. It's more like,
I just put it in the back.
It's just like, I don't want to talk about it.
I shut it off.
I
shut it off because it's just easier, and that was something I struggled with.
Because then also like for me, like I don't, because I'm not talking about sexual abuse. I'm just talking about abuse in general. Like for anyone, for me, I know so many people who are so open about talking about their abuse or anything that they've been through, and for me, I'm just like, I'm good, I don't want to talk about it.
I was like that for the longest time,
and I genuinely am not bothered by a lot of it anymore. And I know a lot of people, like, okay, so I listened to Tana Mojo's podcast, the Cancel podcast with like Brooke. I was listening to it, and she was saying, like, she was talking about a situation that had happened where she was sexually assaulted, basically. I mean, it was consensual, but she was 17, so you can't, and this person was an adult, so whatever. You can't consent when you're 17. But she was talking about it, she's like, I'm not bothered by this thing that happened, even though I know it's wrong. And if I saw it happening to somebody else, I would know it's wrong. That's something that I feel with a lot of my stuff, that I'm like, I know people are like, oh, that's wrong and you should have feelings about it, but I'm like, I just don't have feelings about it. I don't care. Like, it happened. And I don't think about it unless it comes up. And I don't know, is there like an actual mental block, or do I genuinely just, it's fine, it's whatever?
No, I've always tell you though, I think you like to make yourself numb to a lot, because it's just, maybe, I don't know if it's easier for you, but like there's some things that in my life, everything I've gone through, right? I wouldn't say I'm bothered by it, Jess. I'm like, it doesn't bother me, but it makes me who I am. And it's like, this is a part of my healing journey, a part of me. And my thing is like, this isn't just like my trauma is just something I like to talk about. It's something I want to move forward in my professional life, right? Like victims, dealing with victims, helping victims, advocating for victims. So it's like, my thing is, it's like, I just want to talk about it because I don't want people to feel alone. Because I had someone reach out to me who was like, thank you for always being such a safe place for me to talk. And I'm like, like that meant the world to me, right? Because it's like, I don't do this because I'm like, I'm still upset about it. I do it, I guess I talk about it because I'm like, this was a part of me, and these are like hard things to talk about, and no one wants to talk about it. So I'm like, I'm gonna be the one to talk about it. I'm one of those
people that doesn't like. I don't want to say I love, but I'm the same way. Like, I feel like I'm a safe place for people to tell me things. I'm never gonna judge. I'm never gonna be like, oh my God, get over it. That's not me.
No.
But personally, and it's not that it doesn't, like, if I think about it, like, oh yeah, that does kind of bother me, but I just don't. It's not something that, like, there are things in my life that do affect my daily life or do affect, but like a lot of stuff that I'll look back on and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was really messed up. But I'm like, but I'm over it. Like, it doesn't affect me. And I don't know why. And I'm really scared that one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be like, all of it's going to come down on me. And it's like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's a huge fear of mine. Like, I'm going to wake up and like this wall is going to get lifted out of my head. And I'm going to be like, just, oh my gosh, all these things that should bother me, but don't.
Yeah, my thing was really like therapy helped bring a lot of this to light for me.
Yeah.
Because I did,
and that's absolutely something that everyone should do.
I literally shut a lot of this out, not because I wanted to, but because my, like, what is it? The
trauma response or your...
Yeah, my trauma response. Yeah. Essentially just shut it off.
Like you disassociated.
I didn't remember a lot of things until I started going to therapy. And like things started coming out.
That's crazy to me. That's different.
Things started coming out and I'm like, holy fuck, now I'm like remembering details, like in-depth details, because I remember this event happening, but I couldn't remember the blue tiles. Mm-hmm. I couldn't remember what color the van was when we went down to Virginia. I couldn't remember where we picked the guy up that sexually assaulted me when I was 7. I couldn't remember like why I was hallucinating and seeing like Michael Myers in the closet when I tried to myself. You know what I mean? Like I remembered half of the details. So then when I went to therapy, it was like, holy shit, all this stuff now.
But that's what makes me feel like something's wrong with me, because I feel like that's something I hear. Like,
nothing's wrong with you.
But like I remember everything, but it doesn't bother me. Like I don't get upset about it. I don't like struggle with it. I don't think like there are things, don't get me wrong, like we've talked about a bunch of things, but it's weird because like some of the things that I'm like, oh yeah, I can relate because this happened to me too. Well, but then, like I'm okay with not relating because I'm like, I don't need to talk about it. And it's not that I'm hiding it. It's not that I am uncomfortable. I just don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I wonder if anybody understands.
That's what I was going to say, because we should cut it here, different. Right? We should cut the podcast here. In a couple of days, record another answering the rest of the questions. Okay. We should have our people.
Yeah, this got real.
This got real.
Like,
so I am like, completely... I am like, it's a genuine like question. I want to know if you are more like Jess, where it's like you just shut it out, not because it doesn't bother you, just because I wouldn't say easier, but it's just like makes.
No, it's hard to explain. It's like, it's not that I don't care, but I don't. I'm just like, okay, say like I broke my leg in a really traumatic, this didn't happen to me, but say I got into a car accident 2 years ago, broke my leg, broke my arm, all this stuff. And then now we're like talking about it and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. But I'm like, I'm good with it. Moving on. But mine's more like emotional. It's not, you know, there's more to it, but I just don't, and maybe I do subconsciously like struggle. And like, I know for a fact, a lot of it does affect the way that I am with my kids and the way that like I trust other people and teachers and not, you know, just people in general. But a lot of it too, I'm just like, it happened. It is what it is. It's an ugly world, and that's the world
not
we live
everybody
in.
Has to be like me though, right?
But I don't feel like that. Like when I hear you tell me stuff, like it generates like a genuine response. Like it makes me feel sick. Like you talking about it, I'm like, I want to cry for you. I want to like, I just feel so bad, and it makes me sick. But then when I think about like things that not like sexual abuse, but just anything that is similar to stories you've told or other people, other friends, I just don't feel the same way about myself. I'm like, oh, she's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, but like I don't know why you think like that though.
And it's like weird because it's not everything. It's just it's a lot of things. But because there's a lot that
does when there's like stuff you've told me, I'm like, damn, Jess, what the fuck? That's not okay. But you like nonchalantly talk about it, and I'm like, no, like this is not okay. This is serious.
Yeah, I think that's like a common thing that happens, but I don't know. I don't know why I'm like that, and I don't know. Maybe I really need to go to therapy. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, she needs help. But I don't know. Maybe there are some people out there that are just like, oh yeah, bad things have happened to me, but they don't bother me.
Yeah, and maybe that's normal. Maybe it's just like I don't know. I was never open just because I didn't want to talk about it because I felt embarrassed. That was my thing. I felt embarrassed for a long time, but now I'm like, no. I'm going to talk about the hard shit because I want people to know that people talk about the hard shit and they're not alone.
Yeah. Mine's just like, I don't have any feelings, negative, positive,
numb,
nothing, just nothing.
Are you ready to make TikToks? We'll do the other questions at part 2. Yeah. So this will be part 1 because we don't want to make it too long. So
I wonder how long it is.
Probably long.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.